Welcome, it's the 17th of September and join us for our Inspired by InVideo tutorial. And get yourself a cup of coffee, watch it and enjoy it. Hi, earlier in the week Muriel asked about how she could get a design that she'd created in PowerPoint into InVideo and use it in there. Now, I did do a video for her to show her how, but it was 1:15 in the morning in the UK, and I actually didn't do a great job of narrating it. And for the life of me, I could not think of the word transparency. So I thought I'd record it again, and I'd also put in some extra bits that answer some questions that came after the recording. So we're going to start here in PowerPoint, and Muriel wants to move a logo she's created in PowerPoint. So I've created a sheriff's badge, or shall we call it a sheriff's logo. It's just a simple star with a shape, a round shape created here. And then I've put the word sheriff in the middle. So what I want to do is to export that. Now, if you go over to File, and you go to export and you go change file type, then you can see that you can export as a PNG and as a JPEG. But there is a problem with doing this, in that if you choose to do that, it wants to save the whole slide, so you will get all of this excess of white area. And if we go save, you'll see says presentation, do you want to export all slides or just this one? So we'll cancel that. So you can see that if you export it, you get all of the excessive white area. Now if you're exporting it to use in InVideo, you're quite likely to not want to export the background at all. Now in PowerPoint you do this by creating a transparent PNG. So if we select the two components of the badge, what we can do is right click, select group, and we make them into a single object. Now one of the things we can do now is we can use these handles. Yes, these circles are called handles, and we can make it smaller. So if you think that you're going to change it there, you can see also one of the bad bits here is that I also need to change the font size. It doesn't automatically resize the font, so I need to just nip it down to make it fit. But you can see then you've reduced the size of what you're going to transfer into InVideo. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back on our single object that's now smaller than it was originally, and this time we're going to click right and then click save as a picture. So now all we are exporting is what is shown inside those handles there. Now here we have a decision to make. Yeah, we can export it in multiple files: JPEG, PNG, TIFF, Windows Metafile, Bitmap, Enhanced Metafile, and Scalable Vector. Scalable Vector is good if you want to be able to change the size of any object you create here simply by stretching it. Here we're going to choose a PNG. Now the reason we're going to choose a PNG is that the sheriff's badge it doesn't need the background, and the PNG in PowerPoint defaults to transparency, that magic word I couldn't remember in the week, and does not take the white background. So let's give it a name, and we're going to call it OO underscore PNG underscore sheriff underscore badge. Okay, and that's going to be saved in my pictures folder, which is on OneDrive. Okay, so now that's there. If we go over to the pictures folder, you'll see that we have 000 JPEG because I saved it beforehand, and you can see that this has a white background. Here we have 00PNG, sheriff-badge.png, and you can see it has a black background, a bit like this 5-litre bottle of sanitizer here. The black indicates that it's transparent, and this is Microsoft's way of showing it when you look at the mini pictures that it creates of all the items in there. So we can bring it in. Now if we bring it in on the white, you'll see that the white comes with it on the JPEG. If we bring in the PNG, we won't have any background. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch over to InVideo. Okay, so now we're over in InVideo, and this is just a standard default scene, 5 seconds long. Build your own logo. So I'm going to add my logo. The important thing here is that you must make sure that you see the blue around the logo, otherwise what you're dragging over will fill the entire screen. Okay, and I'll make it a little bit bigger. So now we've got my logo, we've got build your own scene. We don't need any text for this, so I'm simply, now that I've highlighted all the handles, that important word handles, I'm going to press the delete key, and that's gone. Now when I drag it over, I want to be able to demonstrate that it's a transparent item I'm bringing over, or it has a white background, depending on whether I bring the JPEG or the PNG. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to background. Now you'll notice by default it's locked. If I unlock it, yeah, I can now go into edit and I can change the colors, and at the moment it's black. So let's have a nice racy red color for our background. Okay, so we can go back to layers, and to stop us making any mistake with the layer, we can lock it again. Okay, so we've got the logo here. Now one of the features that you can do is you can give your layers a name. So I'm going to call this TAD, as in think and do, logo. Okay, and because I'm on a image, the remove background is there, but we're not going to remove my image background. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is to bring over the item that we created in PowerPoint and upload it into my workspace on InVideo's website. So I'm going to go to upload here, and we know it's in pictures, and we deliberately put the double zero rather at the front. Now one person asked me yesterday why I put hyphens instead of spaces between words, and this is quite simple, a habit I've got into. I write a lot of HTML emails for people that bring in hosted images. Now if you have a space between the bits of the file name, when you view that HTML email in Gmail, it will not find the picture because it doesn't handle spaces in file names. So I have a force of habit now, having been writing these HTML emails for quite a long time, about 5 years. I've put the habit now of putting an underscore in. I can still fully know what it is, and I have no worries. Spaces are fine if you're viewing the email in Outlook. So here we've got, as we saw before, our 2 sheriff badges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload them both. So it's on its way up. I've got a decent web link, so it should be pretty quick. I'm fortunate that this week I've had my my web connection, my internet upgraded to a 1 gig down line and a 52 meg up line. So pretty quickly that's there, and that first one is the one that is the JPEG. I'm now going to bring up, well, I'll tell you what we'll do before we go any further. Let's drag the JPEG in and show you what I mean. Can you see how a JPEG brings the background with it? Okay, so we don't want a background, so what I'm going to do is delete that. And I'm also, so as there's no confusion over here, well, in fact, actually, look, let's leave it there because we know it's the one the one there. Let's upload the JPEG. Now, Microsoft shows it with a black background. Now we open it here. It's uploading, optimizing, and oh dear, that's the JPEG, that's the PNG. They don't look any different, and I have actually no way of telling which is which, other than the fact that the order that I uploaded them in, which is shown down here. So avoid further confusion, whoops, let's just get rid of the JPEG. And I'm also going to get rid of the upload complete message. So now I've got a PNG with transparency here. And I'm going to drag that on, and look, instantly you can see that the sheriff's badge is there. Now, if you bought over something that was so big that, and we'll pretend I've bought something over that's too big and parts of it are missing, you can fix that inside InVIdeo. All you need to do is to bring it down till you see a corner with a handle, and then you can drag to make it smaller, and then you can pull it back. And you can repeat that multiple times if your image was far too big. Now, my experience is that they, when you drag an image on, it fits to the size of the workspace or the stage, whatever you'd like to call this area here, which, because it's video oriented, is 1920 pixels that way and 1080 pixels that way. But people tell me that when they bring things in, they have had them hanging off the edge of the stage. So now we've got what we want. Now, can you see these useful lines? That shows me I'm in the center one way, and that shows me I'm in the center the other way. So my sheriff's badge is now dead center on the thing. And that's how you bring in something from PowerPoint and are able to use it within InVideo. Now I've got that, I can do all the normal image things. I can go to the edit, crop it, I can do resizing, fit it to screen, crop it, whatever I need, and I can add a filter. Now, somebody the other day said, oh, they couldn't apply a tint to lower the colouring on their image, but you can actually use these here, and there's a whole load of them. Yeah, so you can see that they are having an effect. So if we look, for instance, go to Gingham, you'll see that's lightened it a bit. If we go to Moon, you can see that blows it to bits. Or we go to Sutro again. So you can apply all these filters, yeah, to play around with your star. I'm completely unsure about Pop Rocket. Goes a bit too pinky in the middle for me. But if we go back, and we'll apply none, but you can see how you can play with any image, and it works really well with photographs to create shades, types, feel and excitement even within your image. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at image animation. And last week I did a video on animation, and the new animation has come out. So here we've got now a none, but we've got fades, shifts, slides, blur, zooms, and as you can see, many of them are from directions. Yeah, and when you hover over you get a little idea of what it does. Now, oh, that's my phone you can hear. Sorry about that, I thought I'd turn the sound off. Anyway, from Impact onwards, these are all new and have been recently added. So if you see last week's video, there's examples of all of these used as ins and outs. And as you can see, there's loads of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to, well, I quite like this. We're going to back flip this from down. Now this is 5 seconds duration. So what I'm going to do is split my in place and my out into 3 timings. So I'm going to give it 2 seconds for an in animation, and in this case I've chosen backflip from down. Now in place there's a very limited choice: panning, zooming and zooming. I'm going to go for none, and I'm only going to leave that to be 1 second. But as you can see, there's no slider, because that's the amount of time for the middle bit is determined by the amount you add here and the amount you add here. So if we go to out, okay, and I can add something else then. So let's add another one of these here. We've got bouncers, disco station, the drama. We did backflip. One I like, where are we? Come back. Is blur and curl, and that goes around an axis. So X is across the middle, and Y is a vertical. And so we're going to do that, and again we're going to add 2 seconds. So that's going to be 2 seconds of animation in, no animation for 1 second, and 2 seconds of animation out. Now if you go over here to the media image, if we go to the advanced timeline, you can see these blocks here. They indicate the in and the out there, and you can jump between them simply by clicking on it here. So that's another way of getting to the image animation, and it's another way of seeing what you've done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the scene. So up it came from below, and then it's twisting off and going away to the right. Now you can say, well, they were a bit pointless, but when you start to work and use your imagination, you can achieve a lot using those different ins, outs. You can have text coming in a fancy manner, dropping down, flying out, and all sorts of things. So that's my video now about bringing in a PowerPoint item and using it within InVideo. That's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful, and I look forward to seeing you next week.